Hi everyone, Amy here. Welcome back to my channel, Paper Therapy. I just wanted to show you, I am going to do a layout with you today, or for you today, but I wanted to show you a couple of layouts that I have done in the past with the Pocket Plus page protectors. So these are the Pocket Plus. They clip right into your binder, or they can go in the post bound as well. Post bound are a little nicer. I do kind of like to hold it like this so I can see it better, but I also like the ease of the D ring. So anyway, here's one, and I'm going to show you a few. This is the Beartooth Pass. I'm going to show you a few, and then I'm going to show you what I'm working on today. Here's another one. I called it The End is Nigh because our oldest son kept yelling that as we went up, and then on the way down he kept saying it. This is a hike up a mountain, and so this is the view from the top, and then here's my extra photos in here. Here is the last layout I'm going to show you. This is the orientation I'll be using of my Pocket Plus this time. This is another hike that we did, the Valley of the Five Lakes, and the family that we did it with, very fun. And I still have to journal, apparently. Fun when you look back in your books and realize, hey, I didn't journal there. I'm better at doing it right away now. So this gives you an idea of how I like to do Pocket Plus. And when I do Pocket Plus, I like them to fit into the page, which is why I've kind of made a line here so that when it's this way, the page still works. And when I do it this way, the couple, you can still see them here. It's not covering anything except for this picture. I like to be able to see, to still have that it's cohesive in the page, whether you've got it this way or this way. So today I'm going to be using this size of Pocket Plus, and I'm planning to add these photos. I've already mounted them on Harbour paper. So what's going to happen is they're going to go in like this, and then this one this way. There we go. And then I'm going to put some journaling and like decoration on the middle of this one. And the other photos that I have are this one, which is going to be kind of a main photo. So I'm going to double mat it. I might even triple mat it. I have to work on what my background colors are going to be yet. I know that I'm going to use this bike because this was a bike trail that we were walking on. And I know that I'm going to use some close to my heart decorations that I've had for years and years, just because we're walking on a train track with trestle bridges, and so this is how I picked the Harbour. I used the color in the background of this. I want to use this old-fashioned phone, these binoculars, these tickets, and here's a little 25 cents token, because I think it goes with a train theme. So the story behind these photos is, this is once again on our trip to British Columbia when we went last summer to visit my brother and sister-in-law. They took us up to Myra Canyon, where there is an old rail line, and they've changed it into walking and biking paths. A lot of people bike. You can rent bikes up there, and they've taken their kids often since they were little. They've been biking here since you could see the holes between the slats. Now they've made boards going the other way so that you don't see that anymore. And I told my sister-in-law I don't know how she dared let her kids bike on there, but she said it was terrifying, but they did it. I typed up a little quite a bit of journaling, I guess, about this, because I really wanted to explain what we had done. And so you can see I tucked that in the Pocket Plus, and that's the back side of it there. And I'll just read it to you because it's easier that way, then you know why I needed so much. And some of this I did borrow from the Myra Canyon pamphlet. High in the hills of East Kelowna is a walk/bike ride like no other. Beautiful Myra Canyon is home to 18 trestle bridges along the abandoned Kettle Valley Railway. The rail line was built to serve mining interests in BC's southern Okanagan region from 1915 to 1989. Myra Canyon, a long and wide chasm with several creeks running along it, proved to be a difficult obstacle to cross for the railway planners. Looking down the canyon, you can see many railroad ties and other construction waste, as in those days, when they repaired the railway, they just threw the old parts down the canyon. Sadly, not all of Myra Canyon trestles are the original versions. 12 of the 18 trestles in Myra Canyon caught fire during the devastating forest fire of 2013. You can rent bikes there or hike. We hiked and then enjoyed lunch we had brought after. What a fascinating place. On this layout, I chose to do vertical lines so that when the flip-flap flipped back and forth, it would still blend in either direction. I also chose to use some wood because the trestles were mostly made from wood, and it looked really nice with the wood on the pictures, as you can see. The other thing I used was the light green paper is from Wander, and it looks kind of like a topographical map, which I thought really went well with this layout. And the other paper is from an older camping paper pack, and it's just arrows of all the different colors that just kind of blends the colors together. On the right hand, the black and white drawing of the train is actually a sign that's up in Myra Canyon, and it's the old Kettle Rail line, and it said underneath it 1920. So I thought the little train that I had in my stash for years already was really appropriate, and I had been saving it for something like this. I actually have another one, and I already know what I'm going to use it on, because I have another train page coming up where my husband and I saw a steam train when we were out in Colorado. I really dug into my stash on this layout and found this pocket card from, I think it's from For Always. Remember that paper pack? Anyways, it just seemed like the appropriate little phrase, and I wanted to put it somewhere, and I discovered that it would look really cute if I put it on the back side of the journaling in the flip-flap. So I used it there. And I wanted to use the bike, even though we're not biking. Many people were biking. And because my sister-in-law had told me the story about how they used to go biking there, I just kind of thought it fit. It is. Most people bike it because it's really too far to walk the whole thing. We just walked a few of the trestles just so that we could see them and look down into the canyon from them and see how impressive they were. I had one more picture here too, so I was able to place it on the back of the journaling and add in this card, as I was telling you. And I cut out that little camera as well to use as a decoration on the card. I'm smiling now at that picture of my sister-in-law and I. We look like we took kind of a funny selfie, but the reason we did it is because everyone else, all the men folks, so my brother and my husband and my sons they've all climbed up above that tunnel, and they're up there. So we were taking a picture of us with them in the background, if that makes sense. I find that I use the Pocket Plus protectors a lot more than I use the flip flaps. I'm not sure exactly why. I think because oftentimes when I have, quote, too many pictures, end quote, I don't think you can ever have too many pictures, but when I have too many to fit on a layout, then I will often have like not just one or two too many. I'll have several. But I think part of the reason is also because I don't always immediately put my layouts into page protectors, into albums, because my albums are full and it's never a priority to buy more albums, right? You always just want to buy the fun stuff. I did just buy an album on the sale though, the saddle colored one. So I think that that's part of the reason. I used the slim, or I think they're called slim thin cut letters to cut out the words Myra Canyon, and I wanted to tuck in Myra kind of in behind the train so it looks like a canyon that it's going through. That's why I liked the height. And I had those spaces there available to me to use for a title, so I wanted to use it up. I find that overlapping elements really, like in clusters, really looks nice. As you know, if you've been to my channel before, you know that I usually cluster decorations. I never used to do that as much. And then I started to notice it in the albums and see it on other YouTube channels more and more. I would do it because it looks nicer than single things floating around. Although, as you'll see when I flip the flip flap, that's a tongue twister, I do have a phone kind of just by itself. It just fit in that spot so perfectly behind the flip flap beside the picture that I decided to just put it there on its own. It's one of those old-fashioned phones, which I felt really went with this layout. Small adjustments. Look, I just decided it all had to go up a little bit to make more room for that bike. It's getting to almost be time for finishing touches. I did use a little bit of wood embellishments on this layout, and they are the wooden arrows. I'm actually down to the dregs of the package, but I found some that I liked and worked. I use the toffee ink because it really seemed to match the wood grain paper well. And so I kind of use it as a stain on the wood just to make them the right color so it matches the wood grain. Because I just kind of, sometimes I'll use them bare, but I do think they look a little naked. I do like a little bit of a stained look to them. So it's simple to do. You just rub your sponge tool or any kind of sponge in your ink and just rub them on those pieces of wood a little bit to get them the right color. And then I audition it in a few spots, but I ends up putting it on the top because I didn't want it right on top of the other wood. I did a couple of more little wood pieces and added a few just to that flip flap as well. I had some little triangles that I could, put in a row. And then you've pretty well seen the finished layout. So once I tuck this journaling card and photo back into the Pocket Plus protector, then I'll show you how I put it in the album and how it looks in the D-ring album. I do, as I said before, like the D-ring albums for ease because it's so much easier to pop things into them. It's such a headache for me to put together the other ones. I just don't know why I have such a hard time with it, but I do. But once they're in there, I do think they look a little bit nicer because it holds your layout when you do 2-page spreads like nice and close together and you don't see those rings. But I've accepted that I like the convenience. So there's a quick close-up. I kind of sped that up more than I intended to, but hopefully you got to see it, and there is a still at the end so that you can take a look at the title at least. Here I am clipping it into the binder just as quick as a wink, and you can see how my flip flap works in the layout, whether it's one direction or the other direction. And I really like that. I like it to not cover things up that shouldn't be covered. In fact, it even bugs me that it almost covers my son there. But I figure there's a family picture right on the bottom so you can see him there. That was our day at Myra Canyon. Very cool place to visit. It was a bit of a blustery day, but still just absolutely beautiful looking at those moody skies in the background. And I enjoyed reliving it, making this layout. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you next time. Bye.